On June 1st, 2007, Hughes, 36, spent a seemingly ordinary but potentially dangerous night in the Hayes Valley area of the San Francisco Bay Area. Having just received a promotion and a raise as the lead sound engineer at Leapfrog Games, he celebrated with a night of drinking and dancing with friends at Underground SF. After the party, he told his friends he was going to spend time with a beautiful woman, and then left alone for what turned out to be his last moments. The next morning, neighbor Carl found blood on the steps and railing outside the building and called 911. Police arrived at the scene, found Hughes' apartment door handle covered with blood. Knock, no answer. After the door broke in, the house filled with a strong smell of blood, a mess. Hughes was lying face down in a pool of blood in his bedroom and had lost all signs of life. The ME puts the time of death between 2:30 and 3 a.m., shortly after he got home from a bar. This case is full of strange things. The doors and windows of the apartment were locked from the inside. The keys were inside. There was no sign of forced entry, and the property inside was intact, ruling out robbery. The blood at the scene was all from Hughes, and the shoe print showed that he appeared to be walking around the room alone, and the pattern of blood drops indicated that he was moving slowly in his final moments of struggle. The autopsy report showed that Hughes had 3 major wounds, concentrated on the left side of his body, a punctured left lung, a neck injury so severe that it severed an artery and caused massive bleeding, as well as bruising on his forehead, abrasions on the forearms of both hands, and a small band of black curly hair held in his left hand. In the course of the investigation, the police found a famous Gandhi quote, "Died tomorrow," in Hughes' notebook, and they jumped to the conclusion that it was a possible suicide. They also found 2 steak knives in the kitchen sink with red stains on the handles, and speculated that one of them was a murder weapon. Police believe Hughes, who was hallucinating over alcohol and drugs at the party, stabbed himself with a steak knife when he returned home, then walked around the house before returning to lock the door and committing suicide. However, this conclusion is full of holes. Hughes' friends and family strongly disagree with the police's assertion of suicide. His ex-girlfriend Melissa, a journalist, knew he loved life. Hughes had an annual salary of more than $70,000, nearly $100,000 in the bank, plans to buy a house and settle in Argentina, was celebrating a promotion that night, and was scheduled to ride a motorcycle the next day and meet his fellow villagers at the weekend. Such a person who was full of life and had no motive for suicide. Melissa calls Hughes' friends and family onto the streets to demand a clear explanation, while Hughes' parents hire experienced private investigator John Murphy to reinvestigate the case. Murphy found that Hughes had no drugs in his system that night other than alcohol, that there was no blood on the blade of the steak knife on the sink, that there was a suspicious red liquid on the handle, that the forensic report on Hughes' height and his genital mutilation was inaccurate, and that the security camera had a blind spot that did not cover the entrance to the apartment. He speculated that Hughes may have been ambushed when he returned home, injured, and then ran back inside to lock the door to protect himself, but the actual murder weapon was never found. But the police and firefighters wiped the blood off the door less than 2 hours after murder, making crucial evidence undetectable. In response to public pressure, San Francisco authorities classified the case as a cause of death unknown. In December 2007, Hughes' parents did not give up and found lawyers in France to take the case to the Paris Court of Appeal. In 2008, a team of French investigators went to San Francisco to reopen the investigation. The French investigators have been met with hostility by the U.S. police, who have refused to hand over the case files, and many of the original investigators have resigned. With the help of the French embassy, the team obtained documents and interrogated more than 50 people from Mr. Hughes' social circle, recovered data from his computer and mobile phone, and reconstructed his last day's travel. After returning home, Hughes browsed his real estate listings, social media, and dating sites, as well as making phone calls that mentioned looking for drugs and an upcoming night with a woman, the investigation found. Investigators also found new clues, such as suspected blood on a brick wall near a small door on the right side of the building that was used to store garbage, blood that did not belong to Mr. Hughes, and a broken watch strap under his body, ketchup on a steak knife, and the actual murder weapon was a long, thick knife, not a steak knife. After a 15-day investigation, French police released a 2,000-page report concluding that Hughes had been murdered. Since then, there have been new suspects in the case. Hughes' boss Mark, whose wife had an affair with Hughes, was once suspected, but he was clear with an alibi. The other suspect is electrician Craig, a former PCP gang member who had a dispute with Hughes over a motorcycle parking space, and neighbors had heard them arguing violently. However, the knife Craig was carrying did not match Hughes' wounds, and he moved away shortly after the murder and later lived on the street, and police did not investigate, citing insufficient evidence. Francois Hughes, Hughes' father, has offered a $100,000 reward for information and has traveled to collect DNA from people who may be involved in the crime. Despite all the difficulties, he never gave up. As of November 2021, the case remains unsolved, and the reward offered by Hughes' parents is still in effect. There's a lot of speculation about what really happened in this case. One possibility is that Hughes got into an argument with a street dealer and were attacked by the dealer. Another possibility is that he accidentally fell victim to someone else's target. But this is all speculation, and the truth remains elusive due to the absence of key evidence and obstacles to investigation. The case also highlights the sloppiness and negligence of the San Francisco police in the early stages of the investigation, and the tireless efforts of Hughes' family and friends to pursue justice.